What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles, and you're listening to Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. Let's get straight into it, man. Saquon Barkley, how will he fare with teammates like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, that offensive line? Oh man, it's going to be a sight to see. First thing, imagine what this Eagles offense is going to be when you can't stack the box with Saquon Barkley. So it's pick your poison. You either stack the box and prevent Saquon from going on his explosive runs, or you're at the mercy of man-on-man coverage with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Pick your poison, because A.J. Brown is a top 3 receiver. Devontae Smith is a top 12 receiver. Saquon Barkley is a top 3 running back. Jalen Hurts is a top 5-6 quarterback. Yes, I said it. Let's be honest. With this offense, you have to be a fool to jack this up. I'm not the biggest Kellen Moore fan, but I got enough respect for the guy to know he can't mess up having Hurts, Barkley, Brown, Smith all together, Goddard on the same team. Like, it's going to work. Imagine the tush push now. Yes, I know Jason Kelce, he's gone, but imagine the tush push with Jalen Hurts, who's squatting 600 pounds, with Saquon Barkley, who's squatting 600 pounds. I mean, it's going to be a sight to see, and I look forward to it. And thank you to the NFL for not being weird and saying we're going to ban the move that the Eagles are just very, very good at. So I expect that to happen. And if we're at 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, go for it and use the tush push. Don't be trying to be cute and run the ball like you normally would on 3rd and 1 when you can have an unstoppable move at your disposal, and now you have more firepower to it with Saquon Barkley. I also believe that the Eagles are banking on Saquon Barkley to have that LaShawn McCoy impact on the city, and you can feel it from his first press conference. It's a little bit weird seeing Saquon Barkley in an Eagles uniform after he literally made us all depressed at the end of the season when Tyrod Taylor torched us, but I still believe that Saquon Barkley can be a legend in Philly. He was never going to be a legend in New York because they're so awful. But if Saquon Barkley brings a Super Bowl to Philly, he'll be looked at in that LaShawn McCoy light. And if he wins multiple Super Bowls, now you looking at, all right, is he the most talented? Is he the best running back the Eagles ever had in their history? He has the opportunity to do that. He's still young. He's still, is going to be surrounded by, these great players on this team. I think that Saquon Barkley can definitely get to that extra tier and get to that status. Now, I want to talk about how Saquon Barkley will help Jalen Hurts. Well, how will he help him out? With the blitz. Jalen Hurts wasn't that good against the blitz this year. He wasn't that good. He had an 81 passer rating against the blitz. Teams continuously blitzed him because that's where he struggled. Now, granted, Jalen Hurts is not the best against the blitz. We know this. He will get better at it. But last season, his coaching staff put him at a disservice each and every game. And you saw in that Buccaneers game, literally, if it wasn't for Hurts or Devontae making superhero plays, the Eagles wouldn't have scored a point in that game because Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni couldn't crack the code on how to stop a blitz and support their very young quarterback, still. And I've been waiting to talk about this. Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett situation. I am so glad, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'll say this. At first, I wanted Justin Fields to be Jalen Hurts' backup. But then I started thinking about it more, and I'm like, that's dumb as hell. It's dumb as hell. Because I'm not trying to bash the guy nothing crazy, but Justin Fields is not that good where you risk having a quarterback controversy or having just that bad energy in your locker room, in your quarterback room. Like, what's the point of doing that when there's other guys who are pure pocket passers that would be just effective, in this offense with the slew of playmakers they have? So it makes no sense. And for y'all that's saying Jalen Hurts, he shouldn't be, wavered, or, he shouldn't feel some type of way if he's really that competitor that everybody, says that he shouldn't be phased by Justin Fields coming in when, you're just that guy. And people be like, well, if he gets rattled by that, he's just like Carson Wentz, who got rattled by Nick Foles. No, because the quarterback position is just a little bit different than any other position. Like, I know I got to get a stud at linebacker and multiple of them so I can have, ones on my depth chart. If a linebacker gets injured, then we have somebody who, is great. Other positions, you can go ahead and have great backups, great young backups, but you can't bring in a young backup, a guy who wants to start in this league behind your franchise guy. So it was a perfect move to get Kenny Pickett, who may not be a starter in this league, but he's shown to win some games, and he's content with being the backup. If Justin Fields came in, he would not be content with being a backup. And I don't hold it against him, but if Justin Fields is saying to himself, like, imagine what I would do with these weapons. Imagine if I had the support that Hurts had. That just might not bode well in that quarterback room, and Hurts would always be looking over his shoulder. Like, if I have a bad pass, is the city, because we know the Philadelphia city is known to turn on guys. I've been a part of it. Well, there's Ben Simmons, Carson Wentz, and I do believe that Hurts is of like a different, mindset, that he isn't going to be fazed by stuff. But it's like, why even play with that when Justin Fields isn't that good to be playing with fire? You feel what I'm saying? So Kenny Pickett, I feel like, is a great move that he can win 2 or 3 games if Hurts is injured and all that. And I think that that's a good move. He's better than Tanner McKee. I also want to go to the defensive side real quick and talk about CJ Gardner-Johnson. And CJ Gardner-Johnson is something that the Eagles missed last season. Let's be honest, right? Against the Buccaneers, the Eagles literally had no will, no fight, no heart. Baker Mayfield was having a day. What did CJ Gardner-Johnson do when he faced Baker Mayfield? He talked trash before the game, intercepts him, and throws the ball to him. Yeah, here, buddy. Get your ball back. That's what he was saying. And he backed it up. He talked that talk. He walked that walk. We need some of that. Some of that heart. For real. So not only is CJ, he's young, he is back where he wants to be. It soured last year, but I still believe that CJ Gardner-Johnson wanted to always come back to Philly. That's why he said we was obnoxious. I think part of the reason he was hurt. But nonetheless, you need guys like CJ Gardner-Johnson that are hungry, really represent hungry dogs run faster, and will go at the most beloved stars in the game. I love the fact that CJ Gardner-Johnson is talking trash to Debo, talking trash to Baker Mayfield. Like, he's representing Philly extremely well. Thank you, Howie Roseman, who's been having himself a freaking week since free agency opened. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Howie Roseman. Shout out to CJ Gardner-Johnson. Let's talk about this defensive line. What if the Eagles, keep Haasan Reddick with Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff? Now, it was reported that the Eagles have restructured Josh Sweat's contract. So now you have Bryce Huff, who you just signed, 3 years, $51 million. Now you have Josh Sweat, who's coming back. The only question is Haasan Reddick. Is he coming back? And I'll argue this. I wouldn't be mad at Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Haasan Reddick, Nolan Smith, Brandon Graham, all being in a rotation, that would be beautiful. Even if it's for 1 year, I like to see it. I would like to see it, even if it's just for 1 year. So if it's possible, if it doesn't hurt us crazy over the cap, I would definitely say, hi, Roseman, look into this. Look into this. Let's see if we can keep all three of these guys and continue to nurture Nolan Smith and allow him to be the best that he can be. But it doesn't hurt to have some pass rushers, and you can't hold what Haasan Reddick and Josh Sweat did at the end of the season and their lack of productivity when their coordinator was Matt Patricia. Like, anybody's going to do worse against Matt Patricia, whether it's on defense or offense, right? So you got to hold everything with grace, with a grain of salt when you are talking about players who were under Matt Patricia. And this leads me to my final point before I have to go off to work. This is going to sound crazy, but James Bradberry, he might have a bounce-back season. Under Matt Patricia, for some reason, he kept having James Bradberry on man-on-man coverage. That's what he was on. He was playing man. When his strong suit is playing zone. So what does Vic Fangio do? He plays zone. All I'm saying is you have a DC who knows what the hell he's doing. That's going to help your players out more. Now, James Bradberry, regardless if you're in man or in zone coverage, you still got to play better than what you put forth last season, because man coverage, zone coverage ain't going to help you when you just simply can't make a tackle. But I'm going to look optimistic and say maybe you were just a victim of the chaos there was with the Sean Desai and, Matt Patricia, whatever they was doing, whatever the Eagles was doing. It was a flat-out disaster. But if there's a season for James Bradberry to bounce back and under a competent a competent DC, I would say that is Vic Fangio. So let's see what James Bradberry does. I'm rooting for you to do something, even though I have been on your ass, rightfully so. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. With that being said, y'all, it is Real Talking Miles Johnson, where I always keep it real. I'm out, y'all.